Thank you for inviting me along. Basically, just going to talk a little bit about Wooclap. It's yet another of these online quiz apps. And I think really I wanted us to think not so much about which button to press. I don't think we've got time for that. But just have a little bit of an evaluation to go through what I think are some of the advantages of it and maybe what some of the challenges are. And then from that, I also thought it was a good opportunity to maybe just explore a little bit about some of the issues we face when using online quizzes and how we can make them more effective. And it does say Q&A. I'm not sure if we're going to have time for that, but maybe if you can email Anshul, if you could pass them on to me, I would be delighted to answer those. Yeah, okay. So I was asked for a brief profile. This will be a very brief profile, but what I want to say is I think my background isn't enormously in terms of technology. It's 20 years teaching. Most of it was for a large part offline, and then all of a sudden my teaching is fully online now. So it's been a great experience for me learning to work with things. And just always time for a quick plug. 29 Sleeps to Christmas. I'm involved in a few teacher training books as well, which you might find interesting. So whistle stop tour. I'm not going to be able to show you all the screens and things, but I do have just a quick overview here on the slide. It's yet another of those presentation, quiz and questionnaire apps. So very much like Mentimeter, you'll have seen Kahoot, Socrative, that kind of thing. And I just wanted to illustrate here, these are some of the toys you can play with. And obviously we haven't time to go through them today, but this is something that you can log on to and have a go with and try out the different things. So in terms of what I think some of the advantages are. So yes, so far so normal, compared with 3D virtual reality technology, this is fairly standard stuff. One of the benefits for those of you from the university is that we do actually have a full license for that. I love using Mentimeter, but I find it frustrating some of the limitations of the free version, and certainly the same with Padlet as well. I do like there's a variety of approaches to questioning, so you can take many different things. You can have live and asynchronous options, so you can set your students' homework for them to do the quizzes in their own time, or obviously you can do it during your presentation. One thing I really like with the answers is that it isn't just a set answer that they have. You have the option to maybe accept slightly dodgy spelling, which I think is good, because if the focus isn't spelling, why not accept a little bit of variety? Or sometimes there can be more than one answer for a question. So I think that's a really, really nice option that it has. One thing where I think it does score over some of the competitors, and I'll say I'm a big fan of polypolls. I love using them, but the data exporting on them is horrible. With Wooclap, it's lovely. You can either have an Excel spreadsheet or a really nice colorful PDF. So you get that data captured from your students' responses really effectively. In terms of problems, I divided these. Some of them are specific to Wooclap. Some of them are criticisms of online quizzes in general. I think it's a little bit fiddly. Mentimeter is much easier making the questions live. Setting up the questionnaires themselves is fairly easy, but actually making it live for people to access is a little bit fiddly. When you're using Teams, it's a bit fiddly swapping the screens, even if you put it in a presentation. So there are some issues. The picture labeling option, the picture is quite small, so I think that's limited in its use as well. Some of the broader online quiz issues, and unfortunately, I'm not sure if we're going to have time to explore it too much, is about whether we have anonymous or named responses. And I think there's no easy answer to that. Anonymity might encourage participation, but obviously you've got to watch out for inappropriate answers. If it's named responses, personally, I think that's about growing responsibility for your own learning. So should we always have anonymity, or should we actually be getting people to own their answers? So lots and hots is what I wanted to talk about very quickly in a couple of minutes. But it's thinking about, well, one of the dangers of these quizzes is why have a quiz when all the answers are Googleable? You've probably seen the old Bloom's taxonomy here, which talks about the different order of skills, the lots and the hots. And I think one key takeaway from today is never to think that lower order skills are lesser than higher ones. They are both super important. So I just wanted to kind of big up some of the benefits of having low order skills knowledge tests in quizzes. Using quizzes can be really useful for flipped learning, so checking that they've done the homework. It can be useful for online learning when we know that students may or may not disappear, so we can check that they are engaging in the activity. It's great for quick recall activities. Now, sometimes in life, quick recall is important. You don't have time to go off and Google things. You need to have that knowledge like that. And these quizzes can be useful for developing that. And then crucially, I think simple knowledge and comprehension tests are still essential for today's learning, because without them, you have no foundation to build those higher skills of analysis, synthesis, and evaluation, and so on and so forth. I've got 1 minute left just to think of some anti-Google strategies. Okay, got nothing against Google, but to stop students just looking up the answers. Okay, you can have diagrams with pictures. Maybe there's some mistakes on them. They have to correct them, and so on and so forth. That's application. Post, pause, pounce, and bounce. Okay, pose a question, pause, give them time to answer, pounce, ask some students what they answered and why, bounce, ask another student if they agreed and why. Don't tell them the answer until you've got a variety of opinions and reasons, then reveal the answer. And it's giving you that understanding of if they understand why they've chosen answers and why they've got things wrong. Get them in groups. So rather than everybody individually answering, why don't you get them in a group and get one person responsible for that answer? You're then getting discussion, negotiation, agreement, and so on and so forth, all those higher order skills. Also great starting point for discussions and so on and so forth, exploring ethics and values. Get them to have a vote and then explore that. Why did you think that? Why did you think that? What are the values behind this, and so on and so forth. And then perhaps one of my favorite ones, rather than give them a question with a strict knowledge answer, give them a case study. That case study, they then have to try and synthesize the knowledge they've got and apply it to that situation. So I think that can be a great way of getting away from the danger of students just being able to look up answers.